Hello and welcome everybody to the 60th meeting or session of Soteria, and we're continuing with our readings of Love is Strange, the love poetry of William Shakespeare. And yeah, let's dive straight in. I think the next reading is from As You Like It. The last time we finished with Troilus and Cressida. I hope you have better memories than I do. I think that's right.
I'll get the text on the screen,
Yes.
shall I? Yeah, hang on. Have we done?
Antony and Cleopatra, we did Troilus and Cressida. Yeah.
So, As You Like It, is this the correct spot?
This is it. This is right. I think
Yeah.
we're at reading number
8.
I think that must be reading 7 was let me just check, but I'm pretty sure reading 7 was Troilus and Cressida, wasn't it? Oh no. I think we're reading 7 actually. No, I think we're reading 7. I think so. You're wrong there.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure, but I think this is we didn't do this one. I think we're at reading 7. Yes. Or did we do that one? I don't think so.
When I looked at it, I sort of thought, oh, we did that, but maybe I'm wrong.
You might be right. It's such a familiar. It's probably one of the most familiar of all of them in the text. So maybe it is a. What about anybody else? Michael, Joseph, do you remember this?
I don't think we did it.
I don't think we did either. I think we finished with Antony and Cleopatra. Instead, you've probably seen it a few times, and it's just in your mind.
What is the?
Troilus and Cressida. I think that's the one we finished with.
Yes.
And then you said something about there being an opera
by William Morton. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
This is Rosalind playing again. This is a common theme in Shakespeare. A woman disguised as a boy. Of course, the boy is playing the woman who's disguised as a boy, so it's a kind of triple transvestite act, if you can call it that. And Rosalind here is disguised very symbolically as Ganymede and playing the role of the pseudo lover, who's not the pseudo lover at all. How will Orlando woo the woman he loves? And this boy playing the role of Rosalind is, but disguised as Ganymede, is, flirting in a way with Orlando here. So who would like to read Rosalind? Who would like to read Orlando? I think it's just these two here.
I think you must have the happy or honest duty of
okay, then Jose, would you like to read Rosalind and Michael Orlando?
Okay, but Jose is not my name. Just call me AJ. That's what
AJ.
Yeah,
I've got it sort of fixed in my mind that you're Jose. I don't know.
Well, that's my middle name.
So it's not so wrong. It's not so wrong, but you prefer to be called AJ.
Yeah, it's easier, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
So I can't actually see that very well.
I'll increase it. Is that big enough?
That's good enough. That's pretty good
right.
enough.
Okay.
So should I start?
Please. Okay. Yes.
I pray you, what is it o'clock?
You should ask me what time of day. There's no clock in the forest.
Then there is no true lover in the forest, else sighting every minute, groaning every hour would detect the lazy foot of time as well as a clock.
And why not the swift foot of time? Had not that been as proper?
By no means, sir. Time travels in diverse paces with diverse persons. I'll tell you who time ambles withal, who time trots withal, and who time gallops withal, and who he stands still withal.
I prithee, who doth he trot withal?
Marry, he trots hard with a young maid between the contract of her marriage and the day it is solemnized. If the interim be but 7 night, I guess that's
7 nights. Yeah.
Time's pace is so hard that it seems the length of 7 years.
Who ambles time withal?
With a priest that lacks Latin and a rich man that hath not the gout. For one who sleeps easily because he cannot study, and the other lives merrily because he feels no pain, the one lacking the burden of lean and wasteful learning, the other knowing no burden of heavy, tedious penury. These time ambles withal.
Who doth he gollop withal?
With a thief to the gallows, for though he go as softly as foot can fall, he thinks himself too soon there.
Who stays it still withal?
With lawyers in the vacation, for they sleep between term and term, and then they perceive not how time moves.
How dwellth you, pretty youth?
With this shepherdess, my sister, here in the skirts of the forest, like fringe upon a petticoat.
Are you the native of this place?
As the honey that you dwell where she is kindled.
Your accent is something finer than you could purchase in so removed a dwelling.
I have been told so of many, but indeed an old religious uncle of mine taught me to speak, who was in his youth an inland man, one that knew courtship too well, for there he fell in love. I have heard him read many lectures against it, and I thank God I am not a woman, to be touched with so many giddy offences as he hath generally taxed their whole sex withal.
Can you remember any of the principal evils that he laid to the charge of women?
There were none principal, they were all like one another, as halfpence are, every one fault seeming monstrous till his fellow fault came to match it.
I prithee, recount some of them.
No, I will not cast away my physic, but on those that are sick. There is a man haunts the forest that abuses our young plants with carving rosalind on their barks, hangs odes upon hawthorns and elegies on brambles, all forsooth deifying the name of Rosalind. If I could meet that fancy monger, I would give him some good counsel, for he seems to have the quotidian of love upon him.
I am he that is so love-shaked. I pray you, tell me your remedy.
There is none of my uncle's marks upon you. He taught me how to know a man in love, in which cage of rushes I am sure you are not a prisoner.
What were his marks?
A lean cheek which you have not, a blue eye unsunken which you have not, an unquestionable spirit which you have not, a beard neglected which you have not. But I pardon you for that, for simply your having it in beard is a younger brother's revenue. Then your hose should be ungartered, your bonnet unbended, your sleeve unbuttoned, your shoe untied, and everything about you demonstrating a careless desolation. But you are no such man. You are rather point device in your accoutrements, as loving yourself than seeming the lover of any other.
Fair youth, I would I could make thee believe I love.
Me believe it. You may as soon make her that you love believe it, which I warrant she is apter to do than to confess she does. That is one of the points in which the women will give the lie to their consciences. But in good sooth, are you he that hangs the verses on the trees, whereas Rosalind is so admired?
I swear to thee, youth, by the white hand of Rosalind, I am that he, that unfortunate he.
But are you so much in love as your rhymes speak?
Neither rhyme nor reason can express how much.
Love is merely a madness, and I tell you, deserves as well a dark house and the whip as madmen do. And the reason why they are not so punished and cured is that the lunacy is so ordinary that the whippers are in love too. Yet I profess curing it by counsel.
Do you ever cure any so?
Yes, one, and in this manner. He was to imagine me his love, his mistress, and I set him every day to woo me, at which time I, being but a moonish youth, grieve, be effeminate, changeable, longing and liking, proud, fantastical, apish, shallow, inconstant, full of tears, full of smiles. For every passion something, and for no passion truly anything, as boys and women are for the most part cattle of this color. Would now like him, now loathe him, then entertain him, then forswear him, now weep for him, then spit at him, that I drave my suitor from his mad humor of love to a living humor of madness, which was to forswear the full stream of the world and to live in a nook merely monastic. And thus I cured him, and this way will I take upon me to wash your liver as clean as a sound sheep's heart, but there shall not be one spot of love in it.
I would not be cured, youth.
I would cure you if you would but call me Rosalind, and come every day to my cote and wooed me.
Now, by faith of my love, I will. Tell me where it is.
Go with me to it, and I'll show it you. And by the way, you shall tell me where in the forest you live. Will you go?
With all my heart, good youth.
I personally think that there is no other presentation of flirting greater, more successful than that. It moves me every time. It is so strong. But that's my personal feeling. Hello, Jenny. Nice to see you there.
Oh, good to see you. Yeah.
I must have got the time mixed up. But anyway, hello. Sorry, I'm late.
But it better late than never, as they say, and that was
True.
I'll have to remember that phrase. It's very good to use. Yeah, I'll say that.
What better late than ever?
Yeah, not later.
I don't know if people who are very familiar with Shakespeare noticed the strong Hamlet references, because when Hamlet is supposedly mad and he's all ungartered and unbuttoned is a very strong reflection of Rosalind's description of love's madness. Just something that strikes me, or was often struck me, I think, when I've heard it. But I love that.
What do you think his view of madness was, particularly Shakespeare, that is?
Oh, that's a kind of difficult question to suddenly throw.
I mean, do you think he had a view, or was it?
Did he have really a view of
conventional to trope to express distraction?
I mean, the two plays one has to think of in connection with madness are Hamlet and King Lear.
Yeah.
And I have great difficulty spontaneously answering that. So.
Well, yeah.
What about Lady Macbeth?
Sorry, you're quite right, actually. Yes.
I mean, maybe he thought it was a sort of a malign influence of a. Yeah, I mean, it often is something irrational and to be defended against.
Well, now that you pose the question, and now I think of it, and Michael mentioned Macbeth, maybe in Shakespeare it's an escape from a reality that is too awful to contemplate. That certainly applies to King Lear and Macbeth, and arguably to Hamlet as well, if he did, of course, get Ophelia pregnant, which is not impossible in the circumstances and the way the plays, and certainly the other two plays, it would seem to be, if Hamlet's madness is feigned or not. Of course, people have written long essays about that.
And the reality that is too unpleasant to countenance as a spur for the madness of love. How does that square? The unpleasantness of being alone, or something like that.
Well, if you take the comedies as the mirror of the tragedies, the comedies representing the female and the optimistic worldview, and the tragedies the male and the pessimistic worldview, which certainly I would subscribe to, then perhaps the madness of love can lead to a realization of something wonderful in the comedies, whereas madness in the tragedies, which is not a madness of love, leads to disaster. Or is an escape from a situation, and it's not a real escape because the disaster comes.
If I may introduce a note of cynicism here.
Please do.
All this stuff about being so madly in love and just that you're completely unkempt and you can't eat and you can't sleep. It sounds like an escalated courtship display that a man would tell a woman in order to win her over, right? It doesn't seem like a description of anyone's actual behavior at any point in time. However, I think in the Renaissance especially, there was a lot of this really extravagant rhetoric involved in courtship, at least in Western Europe.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I would simply point out that Shakespeare is aware of that as well, and presents possibly in Orlando a slightly cynical view of himself writing in the sonnets. I mean, there seems to be quite a lot of that, and this putting poems on trees is obviously absurd, and Orlando is presented as absurd, and Rosalind sees it as absurd. And perhaps Shakespeare viewed himself in some ways as absurd in the way that he wrote in the sonnets, that he seemed to be very extravagant in his love, or other poets indeed. So I think there's an ability to see himself there, or to see his contemporaries as being in some way absurd. There is this comical element as well, absolutely. And I mean, in Rodrigo in Othello, or Andrew Aguecheek, I mean, they are made as ridiculous, and that they try to be extravagantly in love. Well, not Andrew Aguecheek really, but certainly Rodrigo. It's absurd and horrible, and can be exploited.
But you notice that Rosalind expects him to be all disheveled like this, but he is actually not.
Yes, yeah.
Right. So what I'm saying is that the women of that period, having been fed this line of bullshit all their lives, right, have come to believe that that's what men do in love. But Orlando has in fact not behaved that way.
Good point. Good point.
You know what I'm saying? Because he has
yes.
on the display, because he thinks that she's a dude. So of course he's not going to put on the display for her.
Yeah.
Janine, did you hear any of that? I didn't know when you came.
Well, I didn't hear any of the poem, but just from your discussion. And I'm wondering, when you're talking about this kind of flowery language, exaggerated expressions of love, and I'm wondering, maybe we have too many distractions today for us to feel the same way about people that people felt about themselves way back then. When you don't have anything, gossip and television and AI and all this stuff, that kind of, I wonder if it robs us of the appreciation that maybe the audiences and the lovers, if you will, it came to expect of the people that they loved and assumed loved them, or wanted them to love them. And they're actually giving voice to what we might give voice to if we weren't distracted. And I wonder about that, because go ahead.
Don't young love like we used to. I mean, we're all of an older generation at this point, and our whole parameters are different. But if you look at the young people, I see them passionately in love with one another.
Well, I don't know if they're passionately in love with one another so much as they are passionately in love with themselves being in love. The narcissism is so great that it's almost a caricature of the real emotion that's there. Because I don't see a lot of real emotion in their interactions. Of course, I'm not around a bunch of young people all the time, although I know quite a few. So you could be right about that, but it just seems to me that people nowadays are very stilted. They don't really speak about their feelings in any meaningful way, and as opposed to people back then who not only expressed themselves so violently, if you will, about their emotions, and maybe it was a way of communicating that the modern world, if you divide the world between the romantic and the modern, the postmodern, and now the meta modern, whatever the hell that means, but it seems like it's not real. Michael, what do you think?
I mean, I'm just going by what my daughter was here with her partner, the son of another friend was here with his partner, and and it was beautiful to watch. I don't know how much of it was narcissistic, but it didn't read that way. And it was lovely to see and to experience.
Oh, well, it's nice to end on well, nice to have you speak.
Nice to hear that. Yeah. You think
No,
it's
that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Should we move on to the next reading, Michael? Which is from also. Is it from also from?
I can't remember which the next one is, so it didn't surprise me.
8.
So reading number 8.
Yes, as you like it. Yeah.
Oh yes, it's from actually, like, in a sense, I decided to put them together because it was separated before, but in a sense it makes sense that the succession to that is the role that Rosalind plays as Ganymede, resolving all the differences, putting things together so it becomes the perfect dance. That is the resolution which is typical of the comedies, instead of the silence and the despair almost that comes even when the tragedies come to the end. There's always a dark note. People are not happy at the resolution. They have learned too much and seen too much. And the comedies are exactly the opposite. It's a sort of looking out into the future when everything's resolved, all the complexities are overcome. And of course, this role that the woman plays, I've sort of mentioned before, I think that Shakespeare is really in two worlds in his views of women, really in two worlds. He's got a feet in two different worlds. And this appreciation of women as the very wise element of humanity that brings people together and reconciles them. And this is played so strongly here by Rosalind and all the couples. Of course, you see the whole play. I saw Susan Hampshire play Rosalind, which was one of the great events of my life, to be honest. Yeah, unbelievable. And yeah, here she is, the different couples, and it's the usual muddle of it's a long time. You probably know it anyway. But everybody's in love with the wrong person, really, and she resolves these differences. It's a kind of very ritualistic the way she does it. So we have quite a few roles here, I think. Phoebe is the rather dizzy-headed girl who is in love with Rosalind, whom of course she thinks is a boy. And Sylvius is in love with Phoebe, and she won't have anything to do with him because she's dazzled by Rosalind. Actually, she won't have anything to do with him anyway because she is somewhat, I would say, conceited, also rather foolish. And then Orlando is in love with Rosalind and thinks that Rosalind is nowhere there. And Rosalind says that she will give her love to no woman. So disappointing Phoebe, because Phoebe is a woman. So yes, what roles have we got then? Phoebe, maybe Janine, would you like to be
Sure,
Phoebe?
I like that name.
And well, Michael, I suggest you stay as Orlando. And what have we got?
We have Sylvius.
Sylvia. So, Stead, would you like to be Sylvius? And we've got AJ as Rosalind.
Right.
Don't think there are any more, as far as I can remember.
Well, you can jump in.
I'll jump in if there are.
Fill the gaps.
Yes.
Good shepherd, tell this youth what 'tis to love.
It is to be all made of sighs and tears, and so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind. AJ.
Oh, AJ's gone.
Oh, is he? Well, Michael, jump in.
And I for no woman.
It is to be all made of faith and service, and so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be all made of fantasy, all made of passion, and all made of wishes, all adoration, duty, and observance, all humbleness, all patience and impatience, all purity, all trial, all obedience. And so am I for Phoebe.
And so am I for Ganymede.
And so am I for Rosalind.
And so am I for no woman.
Stead.
No, It's Janine, isn't it?
Oh,
If
I'm
this
sorry.
be,
Yeah.
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
if this be so, why blame you me to love you?
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
Why do you speak too? Why blame you me to love you?
To her that is not here, nor doth not hear,
Pray you no more of this. 'Tis like the howling of Irish wolves against the moon. I will help you if I can. I would love you if I could. Tomorrow meet me all together. I will marry you if ever I marry woman, and I'll be married tomorrow. I will satisfy you if ever I satisfied man, and you shall be married tomorrow. I will content you if what pleases you contents you, and you shall be married tomorrow. As you love Rosalind, meet. As you love Phoebe, meet. And as I love no woman, I'll meet. So fare you well. I have left you commands.
I'll not fail if I live.
Nor I.
nor I.
Right. So
Yeah, very, very, very amusing. Yeah, I think I lost a sense of what was really happening, but enjoyably so.
yeah. But is that new to you? Actually, you said. I mean, that's kind of iconic for me.
No, I mean, I am familiar with it. I think, but it's been a long time.
A long time.
Ago.
This
Yeah,
is it.
very
Yeah,
long time.
yeah.
Yeah, a long time. Do we go on to the next one, or
Sure.
what is the
Absolutely.
next one? Let's have a look. Oh, Midsummer's Night's Dream. Nice.
No, Midsummer Night's Dream. This is just hilarious, and this is playing very much on the theme of the folly of love. A bottom has just been transformed by who's the Titania and tell me quickly the name of the fairy in
Ariel.
Ariel. Yeah, has been turned into well, what's happened is Titania has been magically she's had, I think, something cast over her eyes so that when she awakes, she will fall in love with the first person or thing that she sees. And Bottom has been transformed into a donkey. So, of course, Midsummer Night's Dream is a dream. The whole thing is a dream, but it's a dream of love in which one in love can fall in love with the most absurd people because that's the effect that love has. And Bottom and his friends are practicing for a play that they're going to produce for the Duke and Duchess, but they're practicing in the forest, and Bottom has been enchanted, if that's the right word, to become a donkey. And of course, he doesn't know that he's a donkey. So who would like to be Bottom? Perhaps Michael, would you be
Sure.
Bottom? And
I never think of Michael as a donkey, but be that as it may.
Whatever. I'm sure he can play many parts.
I'm sure.
And Snout and Quince, Janine, and Titania. Oh well, Titania Janine, you should be Titania. So maybe
I don't think we need to keep to that. I think anyone could.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
okay.
You play Titania. You play Titania.
Okay, I'll play Titania.
So who am I? Quince?
Quince. Yeah.
Quince. Okay.
Why do they run away?
I'm back. I had to step away for a moment. I'm available again.
Oh, okay, good,
right.
good too.
Good too. Yeah, we just we're at Midsummer Night's Dream. We've just given the different parts. I don't know if there is any extra part, but if there is, jump in.
Let me know.
Yeah.
Why do they run away? This is a knavery of them to make me afeard.
Oh, Bottom, thou art changed. What do I see on thee?
What do you see? You see an asset of your own, do you?
Bless thee, Bottom, bless thee, thou art translated.
I see their knavery. This is to make an ass of me, to frighten me, if they could. But I will not stir from this place. Do what they can. I will walk up and down here, and I will sing, and that they shall hear I am not afraid.
And perhaps if you sing a little bit like a donkey, of course.
I don't know how donkeys sing. The orsel so black of hue, with orange tangy bill, the throstle with his note so true, the wren with little quill.
What angel wakes me from my flowery bed?
The finch, the sparrow, and the lark, the plain-song cuckoo gray, whose note full many a man doth mark, and does not answer nay. For indeed, who would set his wit to so foolish a bird? Who would give a bird the lie, though he cry, cuckoo, never so?
I pray thee, gentle mortal, sing again. Mine ear is much enamoured of thy note, so is mine eye enthralled to thy shape, and thy fair virtue's force perforce doth move me on the first view to say, to swear, I love thee.
Methinks, mistress, you should have little reason for that. And yet, to say the truth, reason and love keep little company together nowadays. The more the pity that some honest neighbors will not make them friends. Nay, I can gleek upon occasion.
Thou art as wise as thou art beautiful.
Not so, neither. But if I had wit enough to get out of this wood, I would have enough to serve mine own turn.
Out of this wood do not desire to go. Thou shalt remain here, whether thou wilt or no. I am a spirit of no common rate. The summer still doth tend upon my state, and I do love thee. Therefore go with me. I'll give thee fairies to attend on thee, and they shall fetch thee jewels from the deep, and sing while thou on pressed flowers dost sleep. And I will purge thy mortal grossness so, that thou shalt like an airy spirit go. Peace blossom, cobweb, moth, and mustard seed.
Oh my.
Nice. Oh, very
Nice little scene from Midsummer.
very, very attractive. Yeah. Any
Comments?
well, Michael, that was excellently done. I mean, you sounded a most melodious donkey that would have threatened Bing Crosby, I think. Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, very nice. Michael, I mean, were you a singer in your youth? Did you sing? Were you? I don't think you did.
No. Occasionally in a choir, and I could never hold the note at all.
I think maybe there was an avenue that you didn't go down that might have been quite future. But anyway. Michael in Cologne. What way? Yeah, are you very fond of the play? Is it?
I am fond of all Shakespeare's plays, with two exceptions, and that's not one of the exceptions. And so, yes, I am very fond of it. And I find it a fascinating play. It's extremely hard to produce successfully, I think. I've never seen I've seen it 3 times, and I'm not really terribly satisfied with any of them. It's too complicated to explain why it's very difficult to produce successfully, but this idea of love as a dream and a Midsummer Night's Dream, and the atmosphere that is captured of the midsummer, and so many references to nature, and so much of nature which we've lost that was so obvious to the people then. It has a very sad note to it for us now, or certainly for me, because that nature's gone largely. This idea, this wood, and all these animals and insects that are described as so much part of the natural scene of Midsummer. And that final end at the end, we have but dreamt a while, or it is very moving because it was all a dream. They've all been lying down and dreaming this extraordinary series of events, with the conflicts between the fairy king and the fairy Titania and so on, Oberon and Titania. I find it very fascinating. Yes, I like it very much. Oh, not my favorite Shakespeare play, but who could not like it?
How is it resolved, Michael? The play itself. Did the people wake up? I remember seeing the movie when I was young, but I don't remember how it ended.
Do you know the two couples? I think they after the madness of the illusions of the forest, they come together again, and there's a successful production, or halfway successful. I don't know how successful it is, in front of the Duke and Duchess, that Bottom and everybody else is performing. I can't actually remember, I must do it again, how the main characters, particularly the 2 men and 2 women, who are in love normally, and then they're seized by madness, and the wrong men go after the wrong women. But it's a good question. I should read it again.
Oh, right,
Well,
good.
perhaps someone else can answer that. It's a good. I can't even remember their names. The men.
So what is your favorite Shakespeare play? Just since you mentioned.
Oh, Hamlet, I think.
Yeah.
Or well, as you like. Yeah, no. Twelfth Night and Hamlet together. One comedy, one tragedy. Yeah.
All right, should we go to the next reading?
Yeah.
Unless someone wants, yeah. Let's, strange. Right now,
Well, no,
Pericles.
Yeah, this is very dark, and this is definitely one of the two plays that I dislike. Well, I would actually say I dislike it. I mean, I don't know if anybody read Pericles or seen it.
No.
Well, there are
What's
two.
the storyline?
Oh, the storyline. I mean, that alone is just so
Long
complicated and so absurd and so grotesque. It's difficult to know where to begin with Pericles.
Yeah, maybe it's
a
not
couple of
worth
things about it. There are two plays for me which are officially designated as Shakespeare plays. One is Pericles, and the other is Merry Wives of Windsor. And I have, as people say today, problems with both of them. Problems in the sense that they don't feel very Shakespearean to me, either of them. The Merry Wives of Windsor is always accepted 100% Shakespeare. Nobody questions it. And Pericles, I'm in good company with all the critics who also think that most of Pericles wasn't written by Shakespeare. The reason that, in my opinion, that people are so dogmatic that Merry Wives of Windsor, no problem, including Oxfordians, by the way, it's certainly by Shakespeare, and Pericles not, is that Pericles was not even included in the first Shakespeare folio, which was supposed to be a collection of the works of Shakespeare, the first collected works of Shakespeare, which appeared in 1623. And it didn't appear in the second, and it appeared in the third, in company with a lot of other plays that nobody has heard of, nobody's read from then to this day. And everybody agrees it's not by Shakespeare, so maybe that's why people say one reason. The other reason is that a lot of Pericles is just so awful that people think of it can't be by Shakespeare. However, there are some parts of it that do seem to have a kind of Shakespeare taste to them, and that it did appear in 1609 in quarto form with the name William Shakespeare. So if people say, oh, it was written in 1609, nobody has any idea when it was written. I mean, it was written between 1570 and 1609 because the play upon which it was based, the storyline, came out in 1570. People say that there was a person called George Wilkes, I think that's the name, or Wilkins, I can't remember, was the main writer of the play, and nobody's really knows much about him. And interesting is how the experts changed, because it used to be Thomas Haywood, and now it's this George Wilkes character. I don't know how the academics make these decisions, but however, that's a long sort of background. The storyline is incredibly complicated, Janine, and this is not the Pericles of Athens, by the way. This is the Pericles of Tyre, who's another name for Antiochus, I think. And no, Apollonius, that's right, the Apollonius of Tyre, and there's a totally different character. And this is based on a medieval legend, and the medieval legend, everything can happen and everything does. The daughter gets put in a casket and gets washed ashore. They get taken by pirates. The wife is supposed to be dead and is thrown overboard, and then she meets the magician and she appears again. Pericles saves the land from the pest by some magic. And it is unbelievable. In absolute literal sense of the word, it is unbelievable. However, there is this scene which is extremely unpleasant in Pericles, in which the mariner who is Pericles' daughter, I think, I hope I got that right, she's been captured by pirates because she's going to be killed on orders of a king, or no, the orders of a queen who's jealous of her beauty. She's only 14, but she's captured by pirates instead, who then sell her to a brothel. This it's completely crazy. You got to read this. But she's resists, and she has some kind of angelic qualities that transforms the people who are going to try to rape her and so on into believing that they shouldn't do this, and that she has sort of virtuous powers. But the reason I chose this is there seems to be something of the disgust which I think exists in Shakespeare for physical sex. And this could be by Shakespeare, I think, because the feeling of horror at it with the disease and the unpleasantness is so strong. I think it is really remarkable for its unpleasantness. And whatever one can say, whoever wrote this really didn't think much of sex. It really here shows it in the worst possible way. So anyway, I think there's a board, and I think there's Marina, and there's Bolt. I think Bolt is the person who's going to rape her so that she will then get used to the idea of sex and can be used by the brothel.
It's quite dark, isn't it? Yeah.
It's the only one darker is that's another one I don't like. Okay, 3. Titus Andronicus is the only darker one. It's the only darker one. This is just truly nasty. So yeah, but it had to be included, I think, because if this is Shakespeare, it's just showing, and he shows so many other signs. When Hamlet talking to his mother, there seems to be, I think Shakespeare's got a problem with the physical act, frankly. Anyway, we'll see what you think. So who would like to be bored? Well, AJ's gone again. No, you haven't gone again. So
I have to leave in
5 you have to leave in 5 minutes. Oh, pity. Okay. Stead, would you be?
Well, yeah, or AJ could start and then you could jump in when he
goes.
Well,
fine. You can jump instead when AJ goes.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay.
Absolutely. And
comment before we start. I tried to look it up, and it said he had a co-author, William Shakespeare and George Wilkins.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I was saying. I was thinking George Wilkins. Other people say John Day. Other people say Thomas Haywood. Nobody really knows, but I think almost everybody agrees it's not all by Shakespeare. The opening part of Pericles is so strange and in rhyming couplets and so unlike Shakespeare. I think almost everybody would agree that it's by a lot of it is by someone else. But why they fix on this Wilkins character, I really don't know. Except I think he wrote a kind of prose Pericles. I think that's the only reason that they pick on him.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So AJ is going to start as the board. I will take over. And Marina, who's Marina?
Janina, if it's not too offensive. Well, it's not offensive actually. You're very successful in your virtue.
And Michael may be a man of many characters.
I can't remember how many characters there are here who appear. It may only be that. We'll find out. Yeah.
And then, you, Michael, perhaps you fill in then as okay, right.
What's a bawd?
A bawd is the woman who's running the brothel, a woman of easy virtue herself, and she's the brothel keeper.
I see. Okay, I just never heard that word. Okay.
Have you not heard the word bawdy though? It's kind of common. Yeah. So it comes from bawdy comes from board.
I always thought a brothel keeper was called a madam, but okay.
Oh well, yes. This is much earlier, and also there's the kind of criticism. Well, it's a point actually that even bawdiness, which is not necessarily a brothel keeper, is kind of included in that. There's a very strong, I would say, almost a kind of puritanical element in this scene.
Okay, let me do this first one, then I gotta go. Bolt, take you the marks of her, the color of her hair, complexion, height, age, with warrant of her virginity, and cry, he that will give most shall have her first. Such a maidenhead were no cheap thing. If men were as they have been, get this done as I command you.
Performance shall follow.
Alack that Leonine was so slack, so slow. You should have struck, not spoke, or that these pirates, not enough barbarous, had not o'erborne me, thrown me, for to seek my mother.
Yeah, perhaps I should explain that. It makes no sense if you don't know the background. Leonine was the person who was supposed to kill her, and they were taken by pirates first. That's amazing.
Oh, I
And
see.
she thinks her mother is dead because her mother has been thrown overboard in a coffin. But actually, her mother is not dead and will be saved, although she's in a coffin thrown overboard. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Why lament you, pretty one?
That I am pretty.
Come, the gods have done their part in you.
I accuse them not.
You are light into my hands where you are like to live.
The more my fault to escape his hands where I was like to die.
Aye, and you shall live in pleasure.
No,
Yes, indeed, shall you, and taste gentlemen of all fashions. You shall fare well. You shall have the difference of all complexions. What? Do you stop your ears?
are you a woman?
What would you have me be, and I be not a woman?
An honest woman, or not a woman?
Marry, whip thee, gosling. I think I shall have something to do with you. Come, you're a young, foolish sapling, and must be bowed as I would have you.
The gods defend me.
If it please the gods to defend you by men, then men must comfort you, men must feed you, men must stir you up. Bolts returned.
Now, sir, hast thou cried? Oh, no, that's still you.
That's still you.
Oh, sir, wait. Now, sir, hast thou cried her through the market?
I have cried her almost to the number of her hairs. I have drawn her picture with my voice.
And I prithee tell me, how dost thou find the inclination of the people, especially of the younger sort?
Faith, they listened to me as they would have hearkened to their father's testament. There was a Spaniard's mouth so watered that he went to bed to her very description.
We shall have him here tomorrow with his best ruff on.
Tonight. But mistress, do you know the French knight that cowers in the hams?
Who, Monsieur Verrol?
Hey, he offered to cut a caper at the proclamation. He made a groan at it and swore he would see her tomorrow.
Well, as for him, he brought his disease hither. Here he does but repair it. I know he will come in our shadow to scatter his crowns in the sun.
Well, if we had of every nation a traveler, we should lodge them with this sign.
Pray you, come thither a while. You have fortunes coming upon you. Mark me, you must seem to do that fearfully which you commit willingly. Despise profit where you have most gain. To weep that you live as ye do makes pity in your lovers. Seldom but that pity begets you a good opinion, and that opinion a mere profit.
I understand you not.
Oh, take her home, mistress, take her home. These blushes of hers must be quenched with some present practice.
Thou sayest truly, faith, so they must. For your bride goes to that with shame, which is her way to go with warrant.
Faith, some do and some do not. Mistress, if I have bargained for the joint,
Thou mayst cut a morsel off the spit.
I may so.
Who should deny it? Come, young one, I like the manner of your garments well.
Yea, by my faith, they shall not be changed yet.
Bold, spend thou that in the town. Report what a sojourner we have. You'll lose nothing by custom. When nature flamed this peace, she meant thee a good turn. Therefore say what a paragon she is, and thou hast a harvest out of thine own report.
I warrant you, mistress, thunder shall not so awake the beds of eels as my giving out her beauty stir up the lewdly inclined. I'll bring home some tonight.
Come your ways, follow me.
If fires be hot, knives sharp, or waters deep, untied I still my virgin knot will keep. Diana, aid my purpose.
What have we to do with Diana? Pray you, will you go with us? Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's oh.
I
Oh,
wanted more of that. Yeah, it
Answer,
gets
no,
worse.
I'm
Yeah.
still a virgin.
yeah.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, they try the tricks on her, and then they're somehow converted to, and are sorrowful for their sins, which wouldn't that be amazing if that happened in real life? But anyway,
yeah.
she has.
I mean, it was yeah, quite engaging. I think. I suppose I wanted to see what happened there more than with some of the other stories. I don't know.
Yeah, yes, in a way. I mean, I think it's It is more of a tale. Of
Yeah,
a ripping yarn, one might call it, from the
yes,
Middle Ages. It was yeah.
It is about love in some way, but not in the way one normally thinks of. Yeah.
Well, there are love elements as well. I mean, the origin is the solving of a riddle, where Pericles is supposed to solve a riddle posed by the king, because the king of Tyre, I think, because Antiochus. And Antiochus's riddle is quite unpleasant because it means he's having an incestuous relationship with his daughter. And if you can't solve the riddle, you're killed. But then Pericles realizes he'll be killed if he does solve the riddle, if he exposes the king. That's why he has to flee. It is a most bizarre, but yeah, you're right. It's the telling of a ripping yarn. It's a tale, and virtue wins at the end, and the forces, the bad forces. And there's a sort of a moralistic, very strong moralistic tone about having a family, being loyal to your wife, being loyal to your children, defending them, and so on.
Whereas the narrative course of most incidents of love is generally that things will be resolved, and it will be a happily reconciled couple at the end. So in that sense, it's somewhat predictable.
Well, Pericles does have that, because the people who are good, like Pericles and his daughter and his wife, then comes back to life. Because a magician does something with it's not a corpse. You have to. It's totally. It's like Parsifal or one of these things.
Like a medieval romance or
completely
something.
Unlike anything in Shakespeare, and I don't have a very Shakespearean feeling about it. He might have written some of this, but of course, you said also about comparing texts, and maybe we should have a slightly more relaxed view of what is Shakespeare and what's not Shakespeare. I'm not talking just about the authorship question, but about, did Shakespeare really write hubble bubble, toil and trouble, cauldron burn and water bubble or something? Probably not. There are certain things you can recognize, but certain things, they were quite relaxed, I think, in those times about, something,
about collaboration.
Who's writing
you mean?
this bit? Yes, and
yeah.
I mean, Hamlet. There's a difference between the quarto, the first folio, and the second folio. The second folio corrects grammar in the first folio. The first folio is very much more than the quarto, and so on. You have different Hamlets, and when you buy your Hamlet, there are different people have different opinions. Is it? Let me think of it. I can't think of an example spontaneously, but there are a whole completely different words.
Yes.
Different interpretations, and far more in the first folio.
I mean, apparently, a lot for the plays themselves, there were a lot of things that were written in, and I just remember the actor, I think Paul Scofield, used to complain about certain parts just didn't work, and we had a mutual friend who was a Shakespearean enthusiast, and he could tell what was inserted and what wasn't. And Scofield agreed with what he designated was non-Shakespearean. These inserts were put in, and it always threw off the meter, according to Scofield. But
but I don't think
sorry, go on.
Well, it just seems to me that the stories were so good that maybe people kind of glossed over the mistakes or the additions or the grammar or the punctuation or whatever, because probably at the time they were, the popular fare of the day, like our popular novels now.
I remember someone saying to me that the right way to think about plays at that time was more like big sort of blockbuster films, and lots of hands could contribute and add something to it, and that wasn't regarded as somehow taking away from the authenticity of the artwork. But
I think it's also true that anybody who's involved in theatrical work, if you act in a play at all, and it's probably true with opera, which I don't have any knowledge of, but you always think, as the actor or the singer's point of view, oh my goodness, oh no, this is a disaster, we got those lines wrong or something, and nobody in the audience has noticed half of all those disasters. I mean, I know that's true for the theatre, where you know, it's terrible things, we made mistakes and things. And then you ask people who saw the plays, oh, I didn't notice. Oh, really? You know, you know, I said the wrong name or something like that, and people don't notice very much. And I'm sure with Shakespeare, nobody would notice if it changed a little bit. Like, yeah.
Well, like I say, you remember how you feel rather than what actually goes on.
Yeah.
People won't remember you, but they'll remember how you made them feel. So, you know. But speaking of the woman talking out of being raped, there was a case in America. I don't know if you've heard about this, but there was a man who broke into a woman's home, and not only did she talk him out of the rape, but she talked him into Christianity, and he came out being a believer in Jesus, saying he was saved, and she was touted as a very talented raconteur of the Bible, that she was able to, you know, completely turn him around and turn him in.
Oh, really? Yeah, that is interesting to hear, isn't it? Yeah.
It was a famous. Not now, of course, people have forgotten about it, but I remember hearing about that and thinking she must have been quite a woman to talk someone out of that nefarious intent. So I guess it's possible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I didn't want to suggest it's impossible. It's just that Pericles does really stretch your. Well, you don't try to be too rational about it.
But most of the time, that's not the way it works. Especially if you're running a whorehouse, you don't want anybody to talk their, people to talk them out of their.
But I don't know if people have any strong feeling that that was definitely not Shakespeare or definitely was Shakespeare. I mean,
could have been.
Wasn't obviously so. Wasn't obviously not. I don't think. I'm kind of neutral on that.
Yeah, I'm neutral on that. Neutral.
If you look at Pericles and look at the opening scenes, I'm not so neutral. That really is very strange and doesn't look like Shakespeare at all to me. But yeah. Anyway.
Good. Right. Should we now?
This is of course very. I couldn't have a series on Shakespeare and Love without including Romeo and Juliet.
Yes,
obviously.
I suppose so. Yeah, it would be perverse not to. Yeah.
It is the poetry of love, is it not? And I can't remember which scene I chose. It's such a long time now.
But... I mean, it's Act 2, Scene 2. And are there other characters?
Yeah. I think that's when he's just met Juliet at the Capulets' great feast, which is I like the version very much, although it's over romanticized, I suppose. The film version, the second, I mean the second or the first? Yeah, the first. The one with Michael York, anyway. The one with Michael? No, the one later. There are 3 films. I get confused. The one with that woman who died very recently. The Zeffirelli one, I think.
Yes,
it's very over romanticized, but it's got this scene is done very well. Anyway. So, who would like to be Romeo? Michael, I'm sure you'd like to. And Janine, would you be Juliet?
Sure.
Okay.
Right.
And I think it's
can I be Friar Lawrence? Can I?
Yeah. I think it's just Romeo and Juliet here. I'm sorry, I can't remember exactly which scene I chose.
Okay. With love's light wings did I o'erperch these walls, for stony limits cannot hold love out. And what love can do that dares love attempt, therefore thy kinsmen are no let to me.
If they do see thee, they will murder thee.
Alack, there lies more peril in thine eyes than 20 of their swords. Look thou but sweet, and I am proof against their enmity.
I would not for the world they saw thee here.
I have night's cloak to hide me from their sight, and but thou love me, let them find me here. My life were better ended by their hate than death prorogued, wanting of thy love.
By whose direction foundest thou this place?
By love, who first did prompt me to inquire. He lent me counsel, and I lent him eyes. I am no pilot, yet wert thou as far as that vast shore washed with the farthest sea, I would adventure for such merchandise.
Thou knowest the mask of night is on my face, else would a maiden blush bepaint my cheek, for that which thou hast heard me speak tonight. Fain would I dwell on form, fain deny what I have spoke, but farewell compliment. Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say aye, and I will take thy word. Yet if thou swearest, thou may prove false at lovers' perjuries. Then say Jove laughs, O gentle Romeo, if thou dost love, pronounce it faithfully. Or if thou thinkest I'm too quickly won, I'll frown and be perverse as say thee nay. So thou wilt woo, but what else? Not for the world. In truth, fair Montague, I am too fond, and there thou mayest think my behavior light. But trust me, gentlemen, I'll prove more true than those who have more cunning to be strange. I should have been more strange, I must confess, but thou overhearest ere I wear my true love's passion, therefore pardon me, and not impute this yielding to light love, which the dark night hath so discovered.
Lady, by yonder blessed moon, I swear that tips with silver all these fruit tree tops.
Oh, swear not by the moon, the inconstant moon, that monthly changes in her circled orb, lest thy love prove likewise variable.
What shall I swear by?
Do not swear at all, or if thou wilt, swear by thy gracious self, which is the God of my idolatry, and I'll believe thee.
If my heart's dear love.
Well, do not swear, although I joy in thee, I have no joy of this contact tonight. It is too rash, too unadvised, too sudden, too like lightning which doth cease to be ere one can say it lightens. Sweet good night, this bed of love, my summer's ripening breath, may prove a beauteous flower with the next when next we meet. Good night, as sweet repose and rest come to thy heart as that within my breast.
Oh, wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied?
What satisfaction canst thou have tonight?
The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine.
I gave thee mine before thou didst request it, and yet would it were to be given again.
Wouldst thou withdraw it? For what purpose, love?
But to be frank and give it to thee again, and yet I wish for the thing I have. My bounty is as boundless as the sea. My love is deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite.
Juliet!
I hear some noise within, dear love. Adieu. Anon, good nurse, sweet Montague, be true. Stay but a little, I will come again.
Oh, blessed night, I am afeard. Being a night, all this is but a dream, too flattering sweet to be substantial.
Yeah.
I like this part. Do I have to tell you again? It's great.
Yeah, it has a wonderful rhythm, but
wonderful rhythm to
yeah.
it. It struck me just from this reading that Juliet is more practical, isn't she? More
Yes, she
practical.
is.
Yeah, she is, and also keeping him at a distance, nothing too fast, and this idea that you should be married first, which is very strong in Shakespeare. You get it as well, that warning in The Tempest, that Miranda, that they shouldn't have any relationship until they're properly married. Yes, so this is an interesting contrast with Pericles, I think.
Yeah, a good juxtaposition of readings, I think. Very good. I mean, love in its intensest form. It's a very spiritual thing, isn't it? In his
Also, a note about a dream. I mean, how often that occurs in love in Shakespeare is "Do I but dream?" We have but dreamt in Midsummer Night's Dream, and this is a dream, and there's something as well in Twelfth Night about the fantasy of the place. It's not real, Illyria. Then I'm in Elysium. This is but an illusion, and that it's love's dream is almost a dream of something better than real life.
Well, consider what marriage is like real married people. You know, the bloom comes off the rose sometimes sooner, sometimes later. But the point being that when you realize these people were so young, you know, Romeo and Juliet, I think, what are they, 14, 15 years old? You know, and raging hormones. And then by the time you're 25, 30 years old, it's like, well, all right, you know, it's fine, but then the reality sets in. And I think we discussed that before in some of the other readings that we've had. You know, there's the romanticism and then there's the reality. And it does seem like Shakespeare understands that women have a little bit more, maybe because of vested interest is more in being a little bit more practical. And I'm wondering, is that characteristic of Shakespeare that he
Yes, I would say directly yes. I would say that part of the where the women are strong in Shakespeare, they have a very practical sense. I would definitely say that. Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they were unromantic or unloving. They just
No, but it's
were
the sort
much
of
more down
good
to
sense.
earth than the men.
Yes. Yes.
No offense, guys. I mean,
Right. I'm trying to remember who sung that song, I'd rather leave while I'm in love. I'd rather leave when I'm in love.
No idea, I'm afraid.
No idea.
Washburn, let's see.
From the 1970s, I think.
I'd rather leave while I was in love.
To check
The
it.
lyric doesn't ring a bell.
It does ring a bell, does it? Yeah.
No.
No, I have no idea.
Oh,
I've got to check it.
You've got to scratch that informational itch. Yeah. We'll do
I know
that.
that song so well.
You can have the pleasure of listening to it afterwards, I think.
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
we have to look it up on YouTube. How does that go? I'd rather leave while I'm in love.
I think that's even the name of it. Rita Coolidge. Okay. Yeah, Rita Coolidge.
Okay.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Oh,
Should we go on to the next reading? I think.
Right.
I think
hastily.
No. Michael, in Cologne, maybe you should read.
Right now, what I've got now
You've
are just
got one of
two
the sonnets.
sonnets, so
two,
we would
right.
actually finish. Yeah, and nice. I think one sonnet is to this mysterious young man, and the other sonnet is to the dark lady. Yeah, which show a little bit again the light and dark side, and interestingly in the sonnets, of course, I say of course, but I think really just about to the young man they are very spiritual. The ones to the woman seem to be rather darker, more cynical, and more physical.
that makes sense.
So this is sonnet 137. Michael, would you like to read?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Thou blind fool, love, what dost thou to mine eyes, that they behold and see not what they see? They know what beauty is, see where it lies, yet what the best is take the worst to be. If eyes corrupt by over partial looks be anchored in the bay where all men ride, why of eyes falsehood hast thou forged hooks whereto the judgment of my heart is tied? Why should my heart think that a several plot which my heart knows the wide world's commonplace? Or mine eyes, seeing this, say this is not, to put fair truth upon so foul a face? In things right true my heart and eyes have erred, and to this false plague are they now transferred.
All right, so yeah, sorry, that one was obviously a dark one. I must have put them the wrong way around, or maybe not. I wanted to end with the more optimistic one. Yeah. So that was, you see, the association with the plague, which is quite common in Shakespeare, Love and the Plague. And of course, we don't have time to. I find the sonnets personally extremely difficult. I never quite know if I like them or dislike them. I only know that they're extremely difficult. I still don't quite know what's going on in most of them. But the contrast with the lady and the boy, yeah, I put them the other way around. So this one is to the youth.
I think you should read it, Michael. I mean, this is
Okay.
your selection.
Oh, thou, my lovely boy, who in thy power doth hold time's fickle glass his sickle hour, who hast by waning grown, and therein showest thy lovers withering as thy sweet self growest, in nature, sovereign mistress over wrack, as thou goest onward still will pluck thee back, She keeps thee to this purpose, that her skill may time disgrace and wretched minute kill. Yet fear her, O thou minion of her pleasure. She may detain, but not still keep her treasure. Her audit, though delayed, answered must be, and her quietus is to render thee. That fear of time, different
strange
tone.
one in that they're all couplets. They're not the usual alternate A B A B.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. Yes.
True. Not, I hadn't noticed. Yeah, I think you're right. They're usually alternating.
Yeah.
Yes.
Audit though delayed, answers must be. Her quietus is to render thee.
Also
quietus
is
quietus is death, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Which Shakespeare uses as an unusual word, but used in Hamlet. Quietus, mate with a bare bodkin.
Yes. Well, what do you think render means in this? Is to give to, what does it mean in this line? Her death is
her audit, though delayed, answered must be, and her quietus is to render thee, is to give you up, I think. To
does it have to mean death, though? I mean,
doesn't have, could be the end.
Her audit, though delayed, answered must be, and her quiet is to render thee. I mean, it sounds like what she says, though it's been delayed, you'll have to answer it. And the quiet, or until that time, you're being rendered by this.
Yeah, but it is quietus, isn't it? I think that's death. I mean, I don't know if he has another meaning.
Yeah.
Could check. Quietus meaning?
Yeah, could you just hold it on the screen just a second? I want to read the middle part here.
It just has death. Or something that has a calming or soothing effect, archaic meaning. So possibly punning there.
Nature, sovereign mistress over. What does this mean? In nature, sovereign mistress over rack. What is that? WRACK. What is that?
Decay, I think.
I love us withering ice with
Thou go
in nature,
sovereign pluck thee back.
mistress over rack. Well, actually, we have to read through it slowly. So, okay. Although my lovely boy, who in thy power doth hold time's fickle glass, his sickle hour, so it hasn't succumbed to time, who hast by waning grown, and therein shows thy lovers withering as thy sweet self growest. I tell you, I find the sonnets very, very difficult. But it seems to be the holding back of time, which normally wrecks beauty in nature, sovereign mistress over rack. So is this perhaps triumphing over the wreck that time calls normally? Or I would assume that's what rack is associated with wreck. I mean, you put me on the spot because I've always found these sonnets incredibly different.
When you were reading it, I thought to myself, it almost sounds like this is the boy's mother speaking to him and trying to explain to him the lover's withering of thy sweet self grow, and nature will take over. And that goes onward still, will pluck thee back, meaning a delay of some sort.
Delay, I think, yes.
Yes, she keeps thee on this purpose, that her skill may time disgrace.
No, it's nature. In other words, that you will continue to be beautiful despite age. And wretched minute
yet
kill.
Fear her, O thou minion of her pleasure.
So that's the easiest part, I think. Fear her, thou minion of her pleasure. So don't think that just because you haven't grown old as one might expect that will always be the way, because you cannot hold back time forever. She may detain but not still keep her treasure. Her audit, though delayed, answered must be, and her quietus is to render me, so to render thee, so I suppose her almost, yeah, her death, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is to give thee up. Yeah.
Well, that's yeah. I don't see this as the romance between two people. I see it almost as an instruction. But
well, yeah, I think you're quite right, Janine, because many of these sonnets, well, the first 14 directly, are very much a sort of uncle or father figure to a boy, saying that you must
yeah,
marry, you must have children, and so on. And even the later ones are very much have this avuncular element in it, and not, well, certainly not sexual. I mean, a sort of
right.
erotic, but not really. So I would agree with that. Does anybody else think?
Why is it not sexual?
Well, I will put the ball in your court and say, what is sexual here? Apart from lovely boy, perhaps it's to do with. Okay,
I see myself saying that to my son because I have a son, and I can remember when he was a teenager thinking to myself, yeah, this is how it goes, but one day you're going to be like a man, and nature's going to take over and you're going to have to grow up, but on the other hand, keep that part of you that is young and virile, and but
it's very strange, isn't it? As by waning grown, that contrast between what is shrinking as grown. I don't quite know what that means. And all these lovers are sort of falling by the wayside. Is that what's going on there? In shows thy lovers withering, as thy sweet self growest?
So sorry for my science. I've just been looking at different meanings of render and audit, both of which are not simply translatable in one sense. Particularly render, which is used a lot in Shakespeare, and it can mean to state, to pay back, and many different senses.
Oh, yeah, pay back, of course, which is connected to audit. I think the punning is one of the key signs of Shakespeare. You want to identify something.
Yes, indeed, yeah.
The man was obsessed with punning. He couldn't stop. I mean, he even makes fun of himself punning sometimes. And here we have, I think, quietus and render, you're probably quite right, have sort of more than one meaning.
There seems to be a sort of financial metaphor here with audit, a balance to be made, and rendering will be the payment, or the offering, the statement of his usefulness. But yeah, I mean, they are difficult, and they are intricately constructed and not at all easy, which is perhaps part of their splendor.
It's part of their strength and attraction.
Yeah, indeed.
But I find them also frustrating, because I always feel that I'm a little bit stupid when I try to read them, because I feel someone else must understand this and I can't.
I think a lot of this.
I don't have that with the plays. With the Shakespeare sonnets, I think I'm sure there's something. I just don't quite understand what he's saying.
Was writing sonnets a sideline for Shakespeare?
The history of the sonnets is a little bit strange. One of the sonnets, I can't remember which, it might even be this one, maybe that's why I chose it, I can't remember, appeared in the Poor Shepherdess very, very early on in a collection of sonnets published by I can't remember who, and it appeared in 1586 or something. And it's a very good thing it did for Oxfordians, because if it didn't, everybody would say Shakespeare wrote these in about 1609. The point being that it's quite clear in a lot of the sonnets that it's an old man. It seems that they were privately written, in the sense of that there was no aim to have them published, and somebody published them in 1609. There's so much going on with who published them and why. And there's a very mystical dedication at the beginning, which people have argued a lot about, including the symbolism, kind of Masonic symbolism of the front cover of the sonnets. But the short story is that one of the sonnets had already appeared in about 1590, but the sonnets were published as by William Shakespeare in 1609. and there was nothing else about the sonnets. They appeared to be circulated, sweet sonnets, among his friends. So, yeah.
Oh, so he wasn't nationally known as a poet. He was basically a playwright, and in private he writes these, and then somebody publishes them.
They were dedicated to Mr. W.H., who most people think is William Herbert, I think, Earl of Pembroke. I'm not an expert on these. There have been books and books written on who W.H. is. But no, Shakespeare was not generally thought of as a poet, I don't think.
Was he alive when they were published, Michael?
1609.
So when did he die? I'm not.
Aha! Well, if you're an Oxfordian, you believe that he died in 1604, but if you're believe it was a man from Stratford upon Avon, he died in 1616. So
okay.
the people from Stratford upon Avon have a bit of a problem, and they acknowledge there's a problem. Shakespeare from Stratford upon Avon didn't kind of react to these sonnets that were apparently published without his knowledge or with his knowledge.
Okay.
But then there is, why does he have? And then there's a rather strange expression to our ever living poet. Now, when you say ever living, it's actually usually a reference to someone who's dead.
Right.
But the Shakespeare people argue for Stratford say, no, ever living means still living. Well, why would you say still living if someone's alive? I mean, either you're kind of surprised the person's still alive or he's dead. If I were to say the still living's dead, it either means it's a surprise because I thought he was dead, or he's dead, I think. But anyway, that's another argument.
Well, was it that he wasn't writing plays for that whole period of time, was he?
Well, this is the mystery, isn't it? I mean, you're getting into the whole authorship point. But there is no proof that anything was written by Shakespeare after 1603. There's no proof. It's all conjecture. Although you do, unfortunately, read one professor, I've forgotten his name, wrote in The Guardian in a production of Macbeth, we know that Macbeth was written in 1610. I don't like to use the word lie, people use it too much, but I'm tempted to say that's a lie. He must know that we don't know. Nobody knows when Macbeth was written. Nobody knows when any of these plays were written, in fact.
Would fabrication work better than lie?
Okay, fabrication, yeah. Wishful thinking, yeah.
Speculation.
Speculation. That's absolutely right. I mean, there's so much that is speculation, and there's so much that's stated as fact, and it's just not the case that we know. But basically, with any Shakespeare play, what you've got at the earliest date is the source from which the writer of the play definitely must have drawn. So in the example of Pericles, it can't be much earlier, but it can't be earlier really than 1575, which was the publication in English by somebody called Gower of the story of this weird story of Pericles. And it's extremely unlikely it could have been earlier than sort of 1575. And it can't be later than 1608, I think, when Pericles the Quarto appeared. That's all you know. Sometime between 1575 and 1608, Pericles was written by somebody.
You said published in English. Was it first published in?
Also, yeah, it probably existed earlier. I think the earliest legend is in Greek, and then in the Middle Ages it circulated. I think it was known in Europe in different languages. Yeah.
Because when the screen said Pericles, I immediately thought,
the Greek, yeah, it's not the same person. I used to as well. I think lots of people think that, and if they haven't seen the play, even if they have seen the play, they might just think this is a sort of sideline for the famous Pericles. Right. But it's not. It's a totally different Pericles. It's not the same person. Yeah.
Should we speak about next month's meeting? I don't know whether I don't know what the most contrastive subject to.
Well, you're doing quite well, Steve, with your idea of reading from things like bird books and so on.
I mean, that actually wouldn't. Maybe we should have something else, just if it turns out not to be good, which is not difficult to do, to find something else, maybe.
Possibly nature writing is a subject of some interest. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's with the lecture on Haywood now? What are we going to do? Is he going to do that lecture for us?
Oh, Hewitt.
We haven't heard from him, have we, Michael?
Yeah, I thought you said Hayward, and I was thinking there because
I did,
Thomas
I did.
Hayward is also one of the possible writers of Pericles. So
Yeah, sorry.
I was confused. We could summon him from the dead, or maybe he hasn't died, as in Pericles, and say I was the writer. No, we haven't heard from Hewitt. Perhaps we should write to him again to remind him. But yeah, Michael, I don't know if you missed it, but we discussed the possibility of having an alternative to these readings on, well, in a sense, they've come to the end. I think there's just one last one, which is what Stead suggested about comparative text, love poetry from the time, which I think would be interesting. But maybe we should do something else in the middle, maybe not me again also. So we're open to suggestions.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So
Stead had were you there, Michael? Stead had a very, I would say, is it fair to say Stead a somewhat eccentric suggestion?
It sounds it, but
which is reading from James Bond's Birds of the West Indies. I would want to extend that, I think, a little bit to maybe Peterson's Birds of North America.
When we were talking about James Bond and where the character's name came from, and you mentioned this book, Birds of the West Indies, I thought, oh yeah, that sounds like what a nice book to read. Yes, I'd love to sort of mentally imagine I was in the West Indies looking at birds and things like that. So I thought, yeah. So yeah, and that dimension of reading a book is part of it. The fact that it allows the mind to go to places that it wouldn't otherwise reside. So I think that's a good thing. But maybe Janine and Mike, if you've got any thoughts about text that you've not read and maybe wouldn't mind, we can get something sorted
give it
out.
Some thought. But
yeah, or
Birds in the West Indies. I think that would be. I like that idea.
You do like that idea? Okay.
I don't know that much about the West Indies or birds.
I know very little about the West Indies. Yeah, so.
Well, that book has always had that sort of role in my life. So I've never been to the West Indies to watch birds, and it's so sad because I've got a field guide to the birds of India, and I have watched birds in India and Africa, and I have watched birds in Africa. Unfortunately, I haven't got my Peterson's Guide to the Birds of North America anymore. I lost that. And Europe, obviously. But this guide has never been used. It's kind of sad. It's sat there on my bookshelves now for
right. Okay,
years.
Let's go for
put
that.
it to this use. All right. But then it's probably me again, isn't it?
Well, you're very good at this. So.
Well, I mean, I think it will be the book. It won't be you. We'll be the book.
Okay.
The book will determine things. It's not,
Right. I might throw in some other things from. I mean, Van der Brink, I think, was quite amusing with his descriptions of some of the animals of Europe and the translated comments. He is funny. I mean, I'm even smiling thinking of Van der Brink.
Oh, okay. Yeah, why
heavy
not? Yeah,
flight can be seen in Greece flying. Or something.
Yeah. Why not? That sounds a good combination. Okay, that's good.
I've got to go, but
I've got to go.
Let me just say wishes to Michael for improved health. I hope that gets better.
You met from it. Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah.
For a happy birthday tomorrow, and
thank you.
Just living in that country from which I come from originally, and having to deal with what one has to deal with there at present.
What's going on at present? Who's sick?
No. I think Michael was just saying that America is not exactly his favorite country.
Well, it's
I just learned today that I cannot vote in the next election.
What?
Oh, that's interesting.
He's wanting to stop overseas voting.
Well, that's been in England the case for forever. If you're abroad for over 10 years in England, you lose your voting rights.
No, you can renew it. You renew it.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
Every 3 years you can renew it, and which is what I've been doing. I mean, I have it sent to my family in London, and then they forward it.
But you America, I think there are different rules to different people. I'm saying I don't think British people after 10 years can vote in any British election.
if they've been.
One
If they
line.
live abroad, if
Let's
they
try and
live
keep
abroad, if they're resident abroad. I'm not allowed to vote in the
I
British
don't
election.
put the resident abroad part. I just use my London address.
Well, of course, you play tricks or something.
Let's try and keep the Shakespeare in our minds rather than too many more quotidian
The
details.
banalities of modern
And,
life.
yeah,
Shakespeare's much
let's
more
leave
interesting.
with a good.
You're right.
Good feeling.
Okay.
All right, yeah,
Okay.
Michael. Thanks.
So,
Thanks for the work
I'll
you've
be in
done,
contact
and
with
we'll
Stead
be in
about a
touch.
date.
Thanks, Michael, for coming.
Okay.
Thanks, Janine. Good to see you.
Thanks everybody for
we'll
coming.
keep going.
Okay.
Yeah. Bye for now,
Bye for
everyone.
now.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.